Hello, everybody. We're here with Fit Vegan. So thank you for being here. Uh, can I call you another name?
Yes, my social media name is Fit Vegan Activist. My real name is Christos or Chris. So either one of those will work.
Awesome. I'll call you Christos. Awesome.
Okay.
So thank you so much for accepting to come and chat
No
with me
worries.
and do like this review of our own outreach.
Thank you for
Very
inviting me.
exciting.
I saw you first time when you were on George Martin's
Oh.
channel um,
Yeah.
with sharing your story. So that's nice that you invited me to do this live together.
Yeah, and I always learn a lot from these, so I'm excited to see where it goes. And yes, so basically, what we're going to do, as we've done before, is we're going to have one video each that we're going to comment on, and
Okay,
we're going to do a coin toss to decide which who goes first.
nice.
So yeah, we've both decided which conversation we'd like to review together. So let's share my screen. Oh, actually, I forgot to ask you, like, to introduce yourself. Please tell me a little bit about your story and how you became an activist and what you do.
Yeah, well, as I said, my name is Christos. I'm originally from Greece. I grew up in Athens. 7 years ago, I moved to Malta with my family and my kids and my spouse at the time. 6 years ago, I went vegan. And 5 years ago, I started doing activism. My first form of activism that I ever joined was a cube with Anonymous of the Voice for the Voiceless, with the local chapter here in Malta. That's still going on to this day. And throughout the years, I've done different forms of animals are here with us, not for us. Yes, amazing comment. Um, so throughout the years, I've done different types of actions. I'm involved also with the local animal rights organization called Animal Liberation Malta. I'm an organizer here for We the Free, the local team for We the Free. We do the 3-minute movie challenges here as well. And I've organized the National Animal Rights Day events, the NARD events here in Malta for the past 4 years. So that's pretty much all the activism I do. Every other week with Anonymous for the Voiceless. I would be out on the street today, but I'm also a single dad co-parenting my kids with my ex-wife. So today they were with me. I couldn't join the cube. So yeah, that's pretty much the activism I do. I try to do as much activism as I can, and I'm involved with. I'm not involved. I'm very much interested also in fitness and health, but my calling is animal rights activism and veganism as a concept. So that's how the Fit Vegan, let's say, handle came about.
Being
Anyway,
interested in health can help you look better because, unfortunately, even if it's not a diet, people see it as a diet. And so
yeah,
it's important that we don't look like we're unhealthy. Unfortunately, it
mm.
shouldn't matter, but because you can be both, of course, as a
You're totally
vegan. But
right. You're totally right. It should not matter. I mean, it's a moral
Mhm.
imperative at the end of the day. But um, being physically fit, looking healthy, looking strong can break a stereotype. Like even when you're out greeting somebody on the street and you're fit and healthy, they can't tell you, where do you get your protein from and stuff like that. That just takes
Especially
one
like,
one thing away from them.
yeah, especially like for, I feel like there's a big stigma around men, like, oh, it's not masculine. Again, it shouldn't matter, but whatever. It does help, I think, like men see like, oh, well, he's obviously fit, so that's like stereotypically, like masculine, and so that does help break other stereotypes as well,
Mm.
I think. So yeah, I think that's helpful in many ways for sure. And of course, it's very important as an activist that you take care of your health. It's not really about the appearance for this, but just so that you can do it sustainably. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, it's going to be hard to continue doing activism because it is painful.
I do think that being physically fit helps you build resilience as an individual and avoid burnout. So it's like when you have your fitness structured and you follow a routine and you do it consistently, I think it helps with doing this, applying the same principles and discipline in your activism and doing it sustainably. The past, let's say, 3 months, I've been more focused on doing activism on the streets. I was in Amsterdam for 2 weeks, and before that I was in at the vegan camp out, and after that last week I was in Luxembourg, so doing a lot of traveling for animal rights and activism. So my fitness was on the back burner for a bit, but now I want to get back onto my fitness routine as well.
It's really inspiring to hear that you're doing so much activism, and of course, like the goal is always, because I'm just saying, I know you're doing that, but it's just for people who might be listening. For example, there's a lot of activists that burn out because they don't have the balance of like taking care of yourself, having moments where you don't do anything related to veganism, and of course doing it as much as you can. But yeah.
Well, I was as I said, I was in Luxembourg at the International Animal Rights Conference there, and I attended a speech, more like a workshop from Melanie Joy about how to avoid burnout. And it's important to highlight that people have different resilience levels and tolerance to stress and these factors. So it's important for each and every one of us who are doing activism to identify their own resilience levels and make sure that their stress doesn't surpass their resilience, and have some routines to build up their resilience. So I consider myself a pretty resilient person, and I don't think I will ever end up being burnt out. But yeah, it's important to also realize that it's not the same for every individual. So we need to really take care of ourselves and remember this is a marathon. It's better that you take a more sustainable approach to your activism instead of going all in, and being an active vegan in the movement for many years to come is more important than doing a lot of things in 2 years and ending up being burned out.
Which like so many is like, I don't know if it's most or half or something, but there's a crazy number of activists that actually just do 2 years and then they burn out. But that's not the way. So
exactly,
all right, let's do that. Coin toss. Okay, so which one do you want? Heads or tails?
Heads.
All right. Oh,
I lost.
Okay, so I guess I'm first. Okay. So I chose my last video. Because I mean, it's not really the way I do it usually. Oh, by the way, hi people. Hello everyone in the chat. So yeah, this is like something I did with the free. This is the first time I actually adapt. I mean, they have some kind of guidelines with the free, but you've done stuff with the free, and I don't really agree with the way they're doing it because it's very much like focused on like the suffering aspect, which I understand, but I just want to drive it home. When I'm having conversations with people, that it's about the use without, it's not really about the suffering, even if you're showing the suffering and stuff. So I was trying to experiment with that. And I'm not going to even do it this way really anymore because I want to implement more deep canvassing because I've been experimenting with deep canvassing, and it's not fully deep canvassing because deep canvassing it's rough with the accountability, and I couldn't. It didn't work without like actually.
I'm not familiar with that term, deep canvassing. What do you mean? It's like a form of outreach.
It's basically from like the LGBTQ activism movement. They basically invented that like in the 2010s, 15 something like that, whatever. And it's been researched and it's been said to be the most like one of the very most effective persuasion tools. for like political change and stuff on an individual scale. And so it's kind of tricky because they are talking to voters, but they are changing their minds about gay people and gay marriage, and it really worked in that regard. But it's kind of tricky because it's lower, it's very much lower stakes than a vegan, than
That's
becoming
interesting.
vegan. And next week I have a live stream, a book club live stream about the book I learned from, which is like How Minds Change, and they talk about that a lot. And so we'll go into that deeply. But yeah, I'm actually gonna post a video
I'll ask you.
soon about
I'll ask
that.
you after the stream how you spell that, so I look into it. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, so I'm not even gonna do the things that I'm gonna show you, but whatever. Okay.
Just one thing to mention about what you said with the free and the the outreach and the suffering. I was in Amsterdam for 2 weeks with AV, and they really focused a lot on the definition of veganism by Leslie Cross, which is the doctrine that humans should live without exploiting animals, full stop, nothing else. And using that definition really helps you avoid unnecessary divergence to the conversation, because it's about exploiting animals, full stop, not about reducing their suffering, and not about exploiting them in a nice way. So I do apply that form of outreach even within the outreach I do with the free. That's it's about not exploiting animals, full stop. And I think vegans and activists should convey what veganism is properly in order to make people understand what it is, and not have them leaving the conversation confused about health and environmental topics when it comes to veganism.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky as well, because like I do think it's very efficient to show footage, but then you have to tell them like it's not really about the suffering thing. And I always define veganism, but they always go back to the welfare thing. But that's okay, because then you can address it. But yeah. So this one is stressful. It begins like really well, and then it goes downhill super. But,
okay. It's a single conversation, right, with one person.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're also trying to enslave others with your ideals. Some arguments in the Prohibition era was that slavery is liberating because you don't have to make choices.
What?
How did that make you feel watching this video?
Sad, of course.
Yeah, it gets weird.
Okay.
Thank you for watching it.
Yeah.
How do you think the animals in the video feel?
I mean, obviously, like, it's awful. Yeah, it's a terrible practice.
What do you think we can do as individuals to help them and stop this?
Well, I actually only eat produce from farms that I can find online.
Oh, by the way, let me know when you want me to stop, because I can't see you.
Okay. If I have anything to comment, I'll just start talking. Okay.
And I can actually see overhead aerials of where the animals are being kept, and that are being kept in free range areas.
So you seem to care about this.
Yeah, my family only eats animals that are organic and free range.
So what would you call someone who is against animal exploitation?
Kind?
Can you find a name for it?
I guess not really.
Okay. So basically, like, we're vegans. A lot of people think it's just a diet, but really it's the stance against all non-human animal use and exploitation and slavery, all that. But in the video, she talks about like these humane practices. We're talking about whether we want to have a slave that's better treated or no slave. What would prevent you from going vegan and basically rejecting the notion that other animals are here to serve you?
I have a question about that. So it's about the animals, yeah? What about the environmental consequences of veganism?
Oh, veganism? What do you mean?
Well, producing soy protein actually has over 3 times the negative environmental impact as cow farming does.
Wow,
so what do you think about that?
Serious misinformation.
That's very wrong.
She started with the local and humane, though, which I'm not sure if you addressed already, or if you're gonna address it later. But
yeah,
then what about the environmental impact of veganism? My God. Okay.
And I should have addressed it first, but I was trying to get to like what I was wanting to say first. But again, I didn't. This is not something I practice, or I was kind of trying it out, and I didn't do necessarily a good job at addressing it first. But I do think I address it. Yeah, actually, I address it later for sure. I remember.
I'm curious to see what you said on the soy thing.
As opposed to like it solves one problem, but it also issues in another.
I understand the concern. So really, that concern is interesting because most of the soy that's actually grown is fed to cattle. I mean, cow slaves. So really, like if you were to go fully plant-based, it would be so much better for the environment. Also because we would have less cropland needed to be used because we wouldn't need to feed it to the animals, that we would then eat,
So you think overall it would have like a positive impact?
It's actually one of the best things you can do for the environment, which is so empowering to discover when, I mean, it's talked about, but not extremely. This is a great benefit, of course, for everybody, but it's important, to remember that it's a justice movement for the animal victims because they have no one really speaking up for them.
Yeah. And then what are your thoughts on things like some people keep like chickens as pets and those chickens just like happen to lay eggs because they're chickens or like things like that? What are your thoughts on like use of animal produce that's farmed in that manner?
That's a very good question. Veganism is not using other animals as resources, so that falls into that thing. These chickens are not free to go, right? They're not free to go in the world, like they are really kept prisoner in that sense, even if they're well treated. So that's why really we're talking about like it's not about the treatment. So what I would want is for us to not breed. Something that I like to say better now, and I figured that out in the comment section, is to say, well, is it really treating them well to like steal their secretions and use their bodies, But apart from that, even if they don't suffer, I would say it more like this now.
One thing I like to say is that even if you start with a small family, farm or a backyard hens, the word gets around, and then it's the mindset that is sick that these animals are there for you to use, and then you end up having factory farms. You have to reject. You have to reject the idea that animals are here for us to do as we please. It seems like we have a troll in the chat.
Yeah, banned him. He's always there, just trying to steer the conversation away from what we're trying to focus on. So.
You banned him already. Okay, I wanted to say that I wanted to tell him that I do have a job. I'm a manager in a private airline, and on top of that, I do activism. What is he doing?
Yeah, and also who cares? And for example, this is my job, but who cares? Like it's actually really important. So it doesn't matter really, but
I miss him already, says Rice. Anyway,
yeah. I'm sorry.
In activism, we are usually trying to, if we have trolls, just completely ignore them. I think that's the best strategy.
Well, I guess if you can get content out of it, that's good. I think that can be nice.
Yeah, if you're filming it, don't ignore them. Yeah, if you're not filming them, ignore them. Yeah, that's a good strategy. Okay, let's continue.
Existence.
Yeah. And then does that expand to you to like other domesticated animals as well, such as horses, cats, and dogs?
Okay, so when it comes to like the animals that we breed into existence, it's kind of an easy problem to solve, right? We don't do that, right? But when it comes to like cats and dogs, it's kind of a harder question because it's like
they've bred to be domesticated, like over time.
Dependent on us. If we have most people agreeing that it's wrong to use another animal's body and to enslave them, I think we could figure out a way to kind of phase them out so that they wouldn't be dependent on us and would be other species.
And then what are your thoughts on like some people, like natives, like gather feathers that have fallen from birds to make like headdresses and such?
See, she gets it. She gets it.
She's clever, but I think she might have seen a lot of anti-vegan stuff online, and she throws them at you.
That's really good questions. Okay, this is still using them as a resource, This is how the feather industry began. People were like, oh, this is pretty, I want to use that, right? Yeah. Really, like what you see is the prospects for these animal individuals is that they're going to be used in the future.
Okay. So that's why like the future ramifications of what could happen in that, like the mind track that might start that process.
It's that, and the fact that you don't want to see them as resources or things for you to use because this is the root of the issue, So that's why we would just like let's not,
So would you say it's more about mindset?
Yes, exactly. it's a principle, but like the practices that flow from this principle are obviously very important.
Sorry, I'm just asking you the question because I'm genuinely curious.
No, I know, I can tell. It's very cool.
So like, what if the thought process is like that, like these feathers that these animals have like dropped is like a gift to us that they have given, like, and they have given beauty to this world.
Well, that would work, right? If they actually could give consent, if they actually could do that, right?
Uh-huh.
If it was a person giving you their hair, like people do, like there's no problem.
It'd be like they had a choice in that action.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like children. You like small children cannot consent necessarily to something.
Okay.
And so this is like how like they cannot communicate. I mean, like other animals are more intelligent than we think most of the time. But even like if they have this intelligence and this ability to conceptualize, they cannot necessarily communicate in a clear way. And so I would just not go there at all.
Okay. I think that's a fascinating point. Yeah. So what you're saying is if an animal could consent, that would be okay then.
If they could, I mean, they can consent, but they can't communicate clearly. And sometimes they don't even understand what they would be consenting to.
So it depends on like, because in that form, like if a, say, cat was to bring you its toy, it is giving you its toy, but it's also like, maybe like that's our interpretation of that, and we don't understand like the full facets of what that could actually mean.
Sure, but I guess like in that sense, it is quite obvious, I guess, that they're all giving us the thing, but like we're talking like about their bodies, you know, and so that's and also like when it comes to when you're talking about like the life of a hen, for example, they have been bred, you know, to overproduce eggs, and so they lose a lot of nutrients that they need, and they break their bones and stuff like that. Yeah. So what they'll do in sanctuaries often is that they will give them some type of medication for the eggs to come less often. Yeah. And when they do come, they will feed it back to them because that way they can replenish it when they're not like fertilized, you know.
And then what are your thoughts of like sanctuaries and such that like maybe don't use the animals, but the animals still are like in an enclosed area, but maybe like more for like their own good, even if they don't understand that?
It's a very good question as well. So basically that's my view is the same kind of as like the pets we have. It's like these are rescued individuals that are like we're in a nightmare right situation. So in the process of creating a vegan world, this is going to be imperfect, right? Yeah. That was caused by the exploitation. But yeah, I don't have any problem with sanctuaries when they don't like use the animals for money that doesn't benefit them. You know, kind of. Yeah, so that's imperfect. But the goal is to phase that out. Obviously, you know, if you were the one that was being enslaved and used, like how long would you want me to wait before freeing you?
I guess to me, it also depends on living conditions. But like, I don't know. I could go a few years.
If you were caged by someone and you were taken hostage by someone, would you prefer to be freed now or in a few years?
I mean, they're serving Michelin star food. I'm not complaining here. Like, if they're depending on my conditions, like I could see some people taking that up that deal.
But if it's against your will because you cannot choose, you're taken hostage, and they're using their bodies for their benefit.
I don't know. I'm kind of bored. I'd try it for like a month.
All right, like if you're saying like human trafficking is okay because you know, like
no, I'm not.
Exactly, but that's kind of like the ramifications of saying that, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean
that would be consensual.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I mean like they can't consent as you said. So like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. So what you're gonna do after this conversation?
Go buy chicken pot pie.
Is it funny or is it not funny?
No, it's not funny. I just really like meat.
Okay. Oh. I really like to rape other people.
Different.
What about it? It's different.
Just as they can't give consent, they also can't give lack of consent.
But that's not consent. A child can't give consent, but you know, doing something to them sexually is not okay. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to like. Okay, like I feel like the methods I was doing early in the past were more conducive to debates, and this turned into a debate because, you know. But like I'm trying to keep it as non-debatey as possible and trying to like because I really like this strategy of like finding a thing that you relate to about what they're saying. And then you say the data, and then you say you ask a question, or you ask a question for them to realize how stupid they're being. I think that's better because obviously, like, it's like the whole thing with deep canvassing or like the psychology of persuasion is that they found that it's very important for someone to not see you as other, for them to be like more likely to be persuaded. It's like a really important part of it. So if you relate first and you basically agree first, and then either share your own personal experience or yeah, you ask a question, it's much more easy for them to actually change their mind.
But I think, as people in the chat said, maybe she wasn't being genuine with her concerns because she was
It
throwing
felt like
things.
it
She was
was.
throwing. It felt at some point because some of the questions she asked and the way she was thinking about it seemed genuine, but then her response here was, "It's just like me too much."
Just I have a different point of view, I suppose.
But what about the victim's point of view?
Well, they can't communicate with us, so we don't actually know their point of view either.
Well, they are mammal and they need freedom just like us mammals too, right? Like we are. Okay, yeah, that was a mistake. I wish I had put something on the screen. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I forgot. I don't mean mammals. I said, like, I just wanted to say no, I just meant animals. I don't know why I said mammals. It's really bad because fish, but yeah, that's bad.
Sometimes in live conversations you won't use the perfect word.
Yeah, but I wish I had remembered to put something on the screen at least.
Cecile,
I don't know.
Cecile is on the chat. I was with her in Luxembourg.
Hello. Everything you're saying applies to someone who's open/receptive. It won't work with trolls, which that person clearly was. Yeah, but it's very hard because every time it doesn't go well, I feel like, you kind of take on the whole responsibility of both people in the conversation, which can be helpful, but it's also completely unrealistic.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, but yes, that's true. Well, they have a need to do their own thing, you know what I mean?
But one could say that we are also trapped. Like, we're trapped by like our jobs. Like, we have to, like, we're enslaved by like the entire system, one could say also. So it's
imagine like you're saying this stuff, but it's little to justify doing that to someone else. That's what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's insane. Hold on, that's a second. It's like saying human trafficking is okay, or like imprisoning someone that hasn't done anything wrong is okay because we are all trapped. That's kind of like the same logic.
Oh, one step at a time.
But why not just go vegan right now?
I'm not interested.
Why?
In my personal belief, there is a way that we can treat animals with kindness and still have use of them.
So, in times of chattel slavery, which is like basically the slavery in the US, there were abolitionists and there were welfarists. The welfarists thought that it was okay to continue slavery if we treated the slaves pleasantly and they didn't suffer too much. What do you think about that?
I don't think it's correct, but I also think it is an entirely different issue.
What about it makes it different?
Well, we don't actually have any evidence that they are sentient.
We do. It's very well established scientifically, yeah.
What? We don't have any evidence that they're sentient.
Yeah, that's an insane thing to say. She knows she's bullshitting. Like, everybody knows they're sentient. Like, everybody knows that. It's obvious, but it's good content though. When I have this conversation,
it's good content. I'm surprised
I was
how you
thanking her
kept
in my head for the content, but
I'm not sure if you kept your cool till the end of the video, but wow.
We'll see.
Understanding the passage of time as well as the acknowledgement of the future and planning for it.
We have plenty of evidence that all these animals, like fish, like all mammals, like all animals basically, have sentience.
Yeah, very, very, very good point.
I don't know. I think
She
it's
knows they're
fine that
sentient, otherwise she
that's
wouldn't
how
be
you think.
concerned with about using them
Yeah,
kindly,
that's
obviously.
exactly. Someone told me like that, like I don't remember who it was, but someone said that, yeah, basically they say, well, then if they're not sentient, why are you concerned about their welfare? It's so good. It's so good. I need to remember
Yeah.
that.
That's good. I mean, they catch you off guard when they tell you animals are not.
Yeah.
And I also think that how I think is okay.
But that's how the slave owners thought back then. That it was okay to enslave someone if we treated them well, because they didn't care about them. But it's not about us, it's about the victims.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, I think you bring up interesting points. However, I do think that like it's also everyone's individual choice.
It's also everybody's choice to murder someone or enslave them, you know?
But you're also trying to enslave others with your ideals.
No, I'm trying to liberate
was-
others by asking you to not.
That was at the start of the video. You're trying to enslave others with your ideals.
Yeah, the
What?
people who stopped the chattel slavery, you know, like they actually were the ones who were the enslavers.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
Not
People may
enslave
say that
someone.
slavery is liberating.
This is just crazy. Imagine saying that. That's insane. That's so offensive.
I mean, it's not a good look for her anyway. Let's see. Wow.
I cannot believe she said that. That's so really far right terrible Nazi thinking. Honestly, it's really scary. Wow.
Some arguments in the Prohibition era was that slavery is liberating because you don't have to make choices.
Are you believing in that?
No, but I'm saying that is like what you are parroting back to me in a sense.
I'm saying all slavery is wrong. You're saying slavery that is kind is okay. And I wasn't always vegan. I understand where you're coming from, you know? But the thing is, we don't have to do that to them. They're desperately trying to bring it down. Not working though, but
Yeah, I don't think.
you know.
I don't know. I just think there's different.
But what is it like if we're both sentient, that which we are, you know? What is the argument for like doing this to them? Is it just selfishness?
Yep.
What if it was you and that was what your oppressor said to you? I'm still gonna do that to you because I don't care. Is this an argument that's actually good?
No, I just think that human nature is that humans are selfish.
So that would mean that we can enslave other people then because we are selfish. Would you say that's okay?
I didn't say it was okay, but I mean, practically speaking, slavery is still a thing because humans are selfish by nature.
Yeah, but we are trying to end that, aren't we? Isn't that something that should end? There's been like improvements, right?
There's been improvements. I think veganism is a wonderful ideal.
Why? Because we can practice it. We are doing it. Why won't you? Like, is it selfishness? Is not a good enough reason. Anyways, I'm gonna give you a card. I appreciate you taking the time. Please think of your victims.
I wouldn't give her the card. Sorry. I'm not sure I would have given her the
Why?
card. But I don't know. She seemed very close-minded at the end. But anyway, you know.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have, because sometimes they come back to me and they say I don't want it published when it doesn't go well. And that's not good. So yeah, I agree. Shouldn't have.
But anyway, you know, you never know. Maybe at some point she will reflect how evil she came off on this conversation and change her mindset. My point of view with this is like if somebody changes their idea, their mind on veganism, and they decide to try it, they have access to the internet. They can find the resources even without your card.
Yeah,
or
it's
my
probably
card.
not going to be from you anyways because the ego hit if it doesn't go like friendly. If it goes friendly, I think, I mean, yeah, but
But well done for keeping your patience throughout that conversation. That was amazing.
thank you. But I feel like it's I feel like now that I'm trying a different way of doing it, way more focused on rapport because of like the psychology of it, because it terrifies me. The psychology of persuasion is terrifying because really you have to like, it's so complicated because you have to hold them accountable while still holding the rapport, which is almost impossible. So it's really a fine line, and it's like the worst nightmare is obviously to be easy on them and to not hold them accountable, to make them feel like it's okay not to be vegan, obviously. So yeah, but I feel like I'm getting there, but it's a very different dynamic than this, because sometimes in the past I was like, well, if it goes into a debate, it goes into a debate, but now it seems like it can be really bad that it goes into a debate, unfortunately. So you can't really be honest, which is not fair, but so it's obviously easier if you can just be honest and even just ask questions straight away. But like, no, now I have to agree with something first and explain with my personal experience and hide the data in my personal experience. Like complete manipulation, but it is worth it because it's apparently what works. So.
Yeah.
So whenever you're ready. Well, is it okay if I go to the restroom real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Feel free to interact with the chat. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. I'll just have a look at some of the people here. A surprise uppercut from Lucie would have been more amazing, followed by her saying, selfish bitch. Sometimes we do those things, right? When I'm standing in the cube, sometimes I hear teenagers walking by saying chicken burger and chicken nuggets with their Maltese accent. I envision myself having like that Inspector Gadget boxing glove coming out of my TV and punching them in the face when they do that. Anyway. I mean, if you wanna improve following the AV outreach, go on to their website. The last workshop they did before the One Damn Month event was very, very informative. It's a long video, but the first couple of hours of that video are really where the most important bits are. So I feel for especially new outreachers who are trying to avoid unnecessary discussions and debate, following that protocol is really helpful, even though sometimes it might come across like we're all saying the same things. Yeah, the 5-hour one, and it's vertical because their camera died, so they had to do it with one of their activists who was there filming the whole thing.
Awesome. So whenever you're ready, do you know how to share your screen?
Yep. All right, I'll need to find my channel first.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. I don't know if this was about AV or something, but how can we get the subjects to lower their defensive mechanisms once they're up?
It wasn't. I think this question wasn't connected to the AV thing, but I think if somebody goes on the defensive, it's really hard to get them to lower their mechanisms in that interaction. It's probably better if you avoid getting them on the defensive in the first place.
Yeah, that's always better.
Yeah,
I would say it's possible, but it's hard. But like it's happened to me. Like I feel like people really respond to your energy like very. I mean, it's subconscious.
Go vegan gadget arms race levers. I said something about fantasy I had while being in the cube and hearing trolls passing by saying chicken nuggets, chicken burgers, and stuff, that I press a button and the boxing glove
Oh.
comes out. Have you ever seen Inspector Gadget?
Yeah.
Cartoon? Yeah,
I see.
something like that. Go
That would be
vegan gadget. Oh,
entertaining.
I missed. Yep.
So yeah,
Alright.
but like the defense mechanisms, I think like if you say like, okay, I know I'm putting you on the spot, for example, or I know this is like a hard conversation to have, or I wasn't always vegan, I really understand
That
this, but
yeah,
things like that, it can help. And also literally like
exactly.
trying to relax yourself and trying to be very conscious of your body language. It can help. It's not necessarily gonna work, but it can work. But yeah,
When
it's
I'm
important.
about to ask them a bit of a confronting question or a hard question that's going to hold them accountable, I'm actually communicating to them the reason why I'm there. I'm not here to educate you or to show you or to create awareness. I'm here to do the thing that nobody else in society is doing, holding you accountable for your actions. And that's why I'm asking these hard questions. I'm not trying to be a dick, and I'm not trying to be an asshole to you, right? And I'm not judging you. Things like that.
I
also use that
wouldn't
in
say
outreach.
educating or holding accountable, honestly, because I think it's bad for rapport, even if it is what you're doing and it's necessary and stuff. I feel like I would say I'm just having a conversation with you because it's just so important that we stop doing this to them or something like that, but like something that's less accurate. You know what I mean? Like something that's less about what we're actually doing. Like it's literally like it's manipulation, but it's it's the exalted form of manipulation. It literally, when I'm doing outreach, I feel like I'm a hostage negotiator. It's literally how it feels, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's literally what we're doing. So what do
Yeah.
they do, the hostage negotiator? They do that. They create an incredible rapport. That's what they do. That's what they're trained to do. And they try to find the vulnerable parts that they can connect generally with that person. And they try to play that and to manipulate them out of harm. Like literally, that's what we're doing. So that's how we need to think about it. And I think it could be interesting to actually learn more about that specific form of persuasion, because that's what we're doing.
That's an interesting point of view. I never thought of it like that. Like you're trying to negotiate for someone's life. That's very, very interesting.
And someone who's like not mentally all there too, because they're not thinking clearly about this, obviously.
Obviously they're not considering the victims here. So all right.
It helps you as well, because it's like it reminds you of like, no, I'm not trying to make them like me because I care, but like it's not that. It's just like you this is a dangerous person. You have to handle them as a dangerous person, Anyway, sorry, I'm getting
but on the other thing, they're conditioned by society to think that what they're doing is normal and okay, right? And there might be compassionate people otherwise. So that's like a hard balance to strike, where in the hostess situation you have somebody who's obviously a full-blown psychopath or criminal. So
well, it's kind of more similar actually when you think about it, because they're probably compassionate in other ways. They probably like kids, for example, or they're probably good to their dog.
Yeah.
But they should just people, which is very similar to what non-vegans are doing. Not necessarily like it doesn't feel like a hostage scenario as much when the person is receptive, of course, because they're not clinging onto it as much. So it's not as dangerous. They're not as dangerous, I guess, in that sense. But yeah. Anyways, are you able to share your screen for the video?
I should be.
Never split the difference.
Screen.
Interesting. I don't know about that. I'm gonna search it.
Never split the difference. No.
Oh yeah. Actually, this was on the reading list for the book club, and I really want to read it. Yeah, it's very important, so it's going to be on the list. Hopefully, it gets voted on.
Okay, so now in theory, I'm sharing.
Awesome. There we go.
Okay. All right, so these are the last 3 outreach videos I did. This one was interesting as well. Like the second interaction was the bit more challenging one. So let's do this one.
This is day 9, and we are out here. Would you like to know what we're doing here?
No, I'm just trying to find out.
We're showing behind the scenes of the industries that exploit
Can you
animals
put full screen?
for meat, cheese, eggs,
All right.
or any other purpose.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you feel about exploiting animals? Would you say that you're against it?
Yeah.
Yes?
For sure, we are against it.
You're against
Yeah.
exploiting animals,
I
right?
think animals are suffering with this one. Yeah, for sure.
Do you think it's truly possible to be against exploiting animals when you consume products that come from animals like meat,
To
cheese?
be honest, I consume meat and
Yes.
chicken, so it's very hard to say, to be honest.
It's a contradiction, right?
I know.
What do you think you can do to align what you just said, like your belief that you're against exploiting animals,
Can
with your
I stop you?
Yep. Wait.
Yeah,
Was there a reason why you went to was she, because maybe I didn't hear, was she talking about like the food she ate or something? Or was it like, because I'm not sure I caught the beginning.
So let me turn it back a bit.
consume meat and
Yes.
chicken, so
Yeah,
it's very hard to say.
Do you think
makes sense.
I asked her,
Yeah,
is it really possible to be against exploiting animals when you consume products that come from animals? And she said it's a hard question to answer because I eat meat and chicken and stuff. And I told her that
Yeah.
it's a contradiction, right? Because I asked her, are you against exploiting animals? And she said yes.
And I would actually, I try to not like, I mean, they always bring it back to the diet, of course, because veganism is a diet in their eyes. But I think it can be very helpful when we bring examples of like not diet related or like diet related. I mean, you know what I mean. Food industry exploitation, and also, for example, experimentation or riding horses or whatever the hell else, you know. But I also understand, because it's like that's what is the most common form of exploitation. But I think it's important because people just think it's just that, you know.
So you want to also bring up some other industries that exploit animals that they are more likely to agree with you that it's wrong to do.
Well, anything really that's not diet related, like so that they kind of get that it's not just that. And even saying it out loud can help, because they might not even think about that.
Yeah. Well, I do like to define the concept of veganism, what it is, during the conversation at some point. I don't remember if I did it on this one. Let's see.
it's truly possible to be against exploiting animals when you consume products that come from animals like meat, cheese?
To be honest, I consume meat and chicken, so it's very hard to say, to be honest.
It's a contradiction, right?
Yeah, I did only say about food here, but I think later in the conversation there are some other.
Yeah, makes sense.
I know.
What do you think you can do to align what you just said, like your belief that you're against exploiting animals, with your actions?
Yeah, I think that we can do better, because I think
Can I stop
live
you?
without meat or.
Yep.
I really like a lot how straight to the point you are. It's very concise. Like I'm not good at that. It's very impressive. Just like it's interesting how it was really. Yeah, it's very good. I like that.
Just AV. That's a thing. Protocol.
Chicken, and we can replace this one with different items.
So it translates with making different choices when you're at the supermarket, right?
We'll try that. Why not?
Do
why not?
you know what veganism is? You know what veganism? Vegan, the word vegan.
Yeah,
yes?
I know that. So the vegans, so they don't consume anything
That comes from
animal, even clothes.
Yes. It's a philosophy that rejects.
I really respect them.
It rejects the idea that animals are resources, right? They are here with us, not for us. What would you say is stopping you from being vegan?
Can you stop?
Nothing, actually. I'm trying.
I love that. I need to use it more often. Like they're here with us, not for us, because it's just so concise and people would
Yeah.
get it more. I really like that. I think we should use it even more. It's really good.
Yeah, I like it. I like it too. It's a powerful statement and
Mhm.
hard to disagree with. Like most people would
Yeah.
agree with that
Yeah.
statement.
To lose weight and following the diet. So I'm consuming a lot of vegetable at the moment.
Okay.
But we try.
That's for your health, right?
That's for my health as well. But we can try to consume some fish. Is that against fishing as well?
Yes. Fishing is a cruel industry. Put yourself in the position of a fish, right? You get a hook
Yeah, I know.
in your cheek, and then you're dragged out of the ocean to suffocate, or the other case is that you're trapped in a giant net with.
Are you vegan?
Yes, I'm vegan for 6 years.
Can you
Everybody
stop?
here who you see around is vegan.
That's really helpful, by the way, when you have a group of vegans, like there's so many, because peer pressure is so huge. Like it's really, really important. Like this community aspect of like saying, for example, there's something like, yeah, in the book he talks a lot about that, how like there's research showing that what other people do is huge in what you're going to do, obviously. So when you say like we have a community of vegans here, like say just showing that there are numbers, it really helps. Unfortunately, because that's dumb, but whatever. And also you said, like about the fish, I think it's great always putting them in obviously in the victim's point of view. And I think something that can be really helpful as well is saying, like they're actually some of the most exploited, apart maybe from insects, I don't know, but like they were some of the most exploited animals on earth, because it's in the trillions, like more than 2 trillion. So it can be even more emphatic on that, like it's so overwhelming, that number, you can't even imagine it.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's sometimes even the most forgotten one, even from people who are considering like, okay, I'm pescatarian.
So for example, when we're talking about the examples of like we're trying to get straight away from diet, including the fish, even if it's part of the food industry, whatever, like it can be really hit home hard, because a lot of people are like, well, I'm pescatarian, and they're like, oh fuck, we need it's also on us, because we're just not talking about fish,
Yeah.
Right. So if you are against exploiting animals, what is stopping you from this day onwards becoming vegan? What do you think? It's comfort, taste?
Was it hard for you to become vegan, or was it?
No. The thing is, what makes it hard for people to be vegan is that they think of it as they have to make a change, a sacrifice for themselves. If you think about it from the victim's point of view, it becomes easy.
Yeah, I get your point. Yeah.
Because when you figure out why you need to do something, the how is easy. All you have to do, you have your phone here, you have to go on Google and type, how can I be vegan? That's it.
Can you pause?
What do you think? What do you think?
It's the least you can do for
Can
these
you
animals,
pause,
right?
please?
Yep.
I never remember that line, and it's just so good. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Just Google it. Like it's that easy, and it's so powerful, because people don't think that they'll be able to like it's so easy. It's so easy to figure that shit out. It's not that hard, and I always forget that.
Yeah, and
It
nowadays
makes it look ridiculous.
even with AI and ChatGPT, it's even easier.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have AI and ChatGPT 6 years ago when I went vegan.
Yeah, and even back then it was easy. Like
it was easy.
Go on forums. Like it was already
Go on
so
forums.
easy. I mean, back then, 10 years ago, whatever. Like
honestly, if we want to be honest with people when they're asking us this question, we have to tell them like the hard part about being vegan is sitting here talking with you, trying to make you explain why exploiting animals is wrong. That's the hard part.
I love that. And it's also connecting on the vulnerable part. Yeah.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Like it's connecting on a vulnerable aspect as well. And it's so
Yeah.
like it's like what's hard about being vegan is it's like day in and day out, just knowing that the people around you are just not caring and not changing, because you know what's going on, and and also just talking with you is just fucking hard because you won't change. Yeah.
And not only with them obviously, but with society in general. So that's why it's important to have people and a community of vegans who understand, and activists obviously. But I think that's the hardest part, the social part. The diet part, it's easy if you're like committed to and you know why you're doing it.
But also like it's important to like it's important that they don't feel like it's because that can be a huge barrier for people, like the social aspect. So saying like, but thankfully, for example, afterwards, thankfully there is a really good community of vegans around here, so you won't be alone, like making sure they know that there is a community online and offline, because that is very important for humans. It's pathetic, but it's true.
and in fact, I think the common reason why people really stop being vegan is this, not the diet itself, the social spot for those quitting veganism.
Yep.
It's the basic form of respect you can show to these animals, because you are in a powerful position. You have power over these animals, right? And every day you're at the supermarket and you're not vegan, you choose to exploit animals to death. That's the reality. So you can, from this day forward, you can say, this no longer happens because of me. That's the benefit of being vegan, not health, not environment.
Exactly, yeah, I know that. I got your point, and I think we can do better in the future. Why not? Yeah,
Okay.
why not? I'm not really against this idea, but I really think we can do better in the future, because I love animals.
You love animals,
Yeah, I
right?
really love animals. I have a parrot, it's an African grey, really love him.
I'll give you a card.
Okay, I think I need to stop here because I did put a caption. She said she has a pet parrot, right? So I was trying to bring home the point of not exploiting animals, and I ignored that part where she said she has a pet parrot intentionally, because I thought it would divert the conversation into a different direction. So if somebody views animals as commodities and don't understand the concept of veganism, trying to break that barrier with them in the other forms they're exploiting animals is more important, and then they will eventually reach the conclusion as to why it's wrong to have pets in cages and birds and stuff like some people do. Okay, like we've domesticated obviously companion animals and cats and dogs and stuff. So I intentionally didn't touch on that part what you said. And
Yeah, that makes sense.
Of that video.
I do the same thing. Yeah, like also, well, it's also tricky because it's like we don't really know. For example, some of these animals that, like, I don't know, maybe the parrot was rescued from another, like maybe they were dependent on humans, and so maybe it's really annoyingly, again, like the transition to a vegan world is going to be messy because we are in a non-vegan world, so.
It could be that she rescued that parrot. I don't know, but I didn't see the importance of having a conversation with her.
I really like that you put it on the screen though, so that people know that it's not that this is like, okay, for example, to buy a parrot or whatever, but also a lot of people already understand that when they're not rescues and stuff, and I totally agree. I agree. Like when we're gonna talk, it's better to talk about pets once the people actually are vegan and already understand what the hell, like why literally murdering them for their flesh or like exploiting their bodies, why it's wrong. It's going to be very easy, and I think it could make people also overwhelmed in an unnecessary way, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And many people who, myself included, when I decided to go vegan, I had a companion animal who I was feeding non-vegan food. And until I arrived at the point where I said, okay, maybe my dog passed away now, so I don't have this dilemma anymore. Maybe I should look into feeding my companion animal plant-based food. because it doesn't make sense for me to be vegan and an activist and feeding my companion animal other animals. I think it's a bit of a few level of veganism discussion for somebody who's non-vegan to have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's continue.
Yeah.
This is a documentary called Dominion, right? And it's all of the footage you see on the screen is from that documentary. Just one more closing thought, right? If you were in the position of the animal and you were the one being exploited to death, would you accept, I'll think about it one day,
Can you
maybe,
pass?
as a response?
There's a lot of stuff you say that I don't say that I need to implement. I really like this thing, exploded to death. That's really good. It's really bad. That's happening. Like that's what's happening, but it's very
Yeah.
powerful. I think.
Yeah. I got that from one damn month. They were using that phrase a lot, so it's a powerful thing to say, I think.
It's very hard. I think the animals are very suffering with this.
So you have the choice to go vegan now.
Why not?
Anything short is not showing basic respect to these animals.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
So you go vegan
We
from
can try to do it slowly, not cutting off everything just one time.
Again, I understand.
Maybe we can try to be vegetarian first,
You don't need to.
and after that vegan. I think vegan it's very hard because you're cutting off everything, eggs, cheese, so everything coming with animals. So you're cutting off everything.
If you Google everything, you will find out it's super easy. And again, I was like you. I went vegetarian first, right? And for the 6 months, and then I went vegan. But if I had somebody like me talking to you right now and explain to me that this is an urgent thing, as long as you're not being vegan, you're still taking your time exploiting animals.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
Okay.
I really respect these people, to be honest, and I really respect vegetarian and vegan people. But maybe one day, I can't promise us now. Maybe one day I will try.
I understand. You already know buying from McDonald's and KFC and stuff. Even in McDonald's and KFC, they have the vegan option nowadays.
Yes, they do. Everywhere. Yeah, everywhere they do.
So I'm not saying it's not a healthy option because you said you want to lose weight, right? But even if you crave a junk food vegan option one time, you can still have it. And animals don't have to be exploited because of you.
Yeah, we'll try.
Right.
Thank you
Can
very
you
much
pause?
for your advice today.
Thank you.
Thanks. So I feel like you kind of did that in the beginning, but like I when they're kind of like super self-centered like that, I think it can be really helpful to be like, if you were being taken advantage of or overpowered, whatever, and taken hostage, whatever, and they were using you for their own benefit, how urgently would you want me to free you? How urgently would you want them to stop? Like, and that way that can be a little clearer. And I feel like, and sometimes they'll go like, well, they don't know that they're like going to die or something like that. It's completely sidetracking, but it's easy anyways to deal with that. But I think that can be real powerful.
Yeah. No, I did sense, like, I asked her how urgent this is, and if you were in that position, how fast would you want your operations to stop oppressing you? I could have, now viewing this video again, made the same point because they left the conversation saying, I'll think about it. But sometimes I get the impression from people who are open to the discussion on the street that they agree with everything. They want to go home and make the decision by themselves. They don't want to be they don't want to say, okay, I went vegan because some guy on the street told me to go vegan. Like I made my own mind, if that makes sense. And I got that a lot on during one day month. Like I spoke with people who were open and they said, okay, you made some valid points. I agree. I asked them, what are you going to do about it? Like, take action. This isn't food for thought. And they still wouldn't say I'm gonna go vegan. Some of them did. Some of them declared okay. I think one thing I started doing after this outreach is when instead of asking them if they're gonna go vegan, I was asking them from this day forward how many animals will be exploited to death
Mhm.
because of you. And if the answer is 0, you should be vegan. That's it. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
But
I
like
didn't do that.
it's always. I mean, that's like what the the studies on the psychology of persuasion. They say that it's like people are only going to change their minds if they feel like they changed their own mind. But at the same time, you're the only voice to push them in a certain direction, and so
Yeah.
of course it's going to be this way. But yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you for you're doing amazing.
It's not. We're not doing this. We're not doing this for praise of people. We're doing this so that people like you who are open stop exploiting animals. That's it.
And I was thinking about it before. I didn't remember if I said when people are saying, yes, I respect you and you're doing a great job and
Yeah.
stuff. I like to tell them I'm not doing it for you to respect me. It doesn't have to do anything with that or to be liked. And unfortunately, I did say it here. I didn't remember if
Yeah,
I
they feel good
if I
about
said
it now because it praises you. They praised you. Like it's disgusting. Yeah.
yeah.
I know that.
Yes.
We can give it a try.
Have big companies like don't give it a try. Go vegan. It's easy. It's easy. You can do it. Yes.
Yeah, I will try.
You can do it.
Try. I promise I will try.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, she was a nice lady, that first one. But leaving, she said, I will try. She wanted to walk away. Anyway, this second one was a bit more challenging. So let's just.
Are you curious about what's going on there?
Well, I have no time, otherwise I would stop by, but what is it about?
We're showing behind the scenes of the industries that exploit animals to death.
Okay,
Would you say that you're against animal exploitation?
sure. Yeah.
Do you think it's truly possible to be against animal exploitation when you consume products that come from animals like meat, cheese, eggs, or any
Yes.
other? Yes?
Yeah.
How is it possible?
How?
Yeah.
You treat the animals fairly
Yeah.
and with respect.
Are you still using them to get something from them?
Why, yes, like milk or whatever.
So that's exploiting them, right?
Yes. Like I am being exploited too.
To death, like these animals?
Sorry?
Are you being exploited to death?
Sorry?
Are you being exploited to death like these animals?
No, I'm not. But neither is a cow. When I drink their milk. I know.
How is that possible? I mean, exploitation is taking something from somebody who doesn't give consent to that. Cows are docile animals, right? So we can do whatever we want to them. And that's the reason why humans have created a system where they exploit these animals, because they're docile and they're easy to exploit.
Yeah. I don't know. I tend to disagree with you, but
Can you pause?
yeah.
I think that would have been I mean, I know you're also trying not to maybe go into too high, how you call it, a temperature of the conversation. But when he said they're not exploded to death, I was like, well, yeah, they are murdered. Like they are exploded
Yeah.
for their bodies, for their flesh.
Exactly.
They are,
And their babies are being stolen from them and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that they dare compare themselves, like their situation to it, is insane.
Yes, I'm being
They
exploited.
don't see
too.
that as offensive.
No, it's amazing. Not all cows are docile. Don't cows discriminate, bro.
All right. Well, just think of this, right? When you say that you're morally, like you have the principle that you're against exploiting animals, and then you go and do something else, you're contradicting yourself, and then you're trying to find reasons why exploiting someone is okay. We could live without exploiting animals. It's easy. You heard about the word vegan?
Yeah.
What do you think is preventing you from being vegan? Maybe you didn't think about it before.
No, I have. I
Yeah.
have. Yeah.
And what's the reason you think is that hasn't happened yet?
Because I like meat too much.
You like meat too much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think taste pleasure is a good enough justification to exploit animals to death for their flesh?
But no.
It's something to consider, right? Because you said you are against exploiting animals.
Yeah. I still think, it's maybe not the way it was supposed to be, but when you look at indigenous cultures, they
Can you
call it harvested meat.
Harvest. How I hate that.
Oh
word.
my god, yeah. Whenever they say harvest, I'm like cringing so hard. But yeah, like it's so interesting that they often take the indigenous cultures, but like the indigenous cultures have done horrible things too.
Yeah.
Why are you seeing them as so pure and so like
And
for
indigenous
some
cultures
reason?
also, many of them cannibalize
Yeah.
each other.
And there was all sorts of horrible things happening. So I don't understand what the hell is going on.
It's this
Uh.
idealization of nature that many people have.
Yeah. And also I think it's also because they were victims of colonizations oftentimes. And so if you're a victim, of course you cannot be the oppressor at the same time. That's impossible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Not much
Whatever
left to walk
in
away.
a responsible manner, just what they needed in order to survive, and they were thankful for God or whoever it was to give that to the human to survive. And
give that.
I think that's in a respectful way, and they would pay respect and they would harvest an animal. So
Me and you are in a survival situation.
no, we're not anymore. But that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
at
I'll
one point
comment
it
in a
was
second.
okay, and I think it can still.
Okay, so that background noise is the person who was filming the camera was also an AV organizer, and he had the walkie-talkie with him. So they were being called in the gazebo, which is back there. It was shown.
Be okay if you are.
I'm on my way.
Maybe that's how you look at it.
But if you were in the victim's position and you were the one being exploited to death, would you accept that justification that your exploiter, the one that oppresses you, says, okay, as long as I'm doing it in a respectful manner, I'm okay to exploit this individual to death? When I don't need to, I have the vegan option right there. I'm not in a survival situation.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn.
Sorry, I gotta run.
No worries.
That went better than I thought. Are you kidding? That's not that's not like I mean, yeah, I get it. It was a
Wait,
little
have to,
This guy is
of
Jimmy Dunn.
high temperature at some point, but
I stopped sharing now,
know.
right? Okay.
he obviously got it, even if it's probably not necessarily. I don't know, but there was something. Oh yeah. I don't know. Are you using the audio from both the camera and your audio?
I'm not sure. I'm using the mics. Fuck, I forget the brand now.
Are you recording while synchronizing them?
Yes.
Yeah, that I think you shouldn't do that if you can.
One of them is attached to the camera, and the other one is me, and it's capturing the voice at the same time.
Yeah, that's probably why it's you're having issues with the sound. Because you can, but even if because if you're recording while synchronizing, of course that's gonna happen. But if you just like if you just don't synchronize them, like you can just have but you're using like you're not using a mic where you can record on the mic, the mic, right?
No, it's not just recording my voice separately and then I have to sync them. It's syncing them at the same time.
Oh, you said it's not, or it is?
It is. It's syncing it's syncing the audio with the video.
Okay,
and it's a good mic. Wait, I'm gonna get it because now I'm gonna go crazy if I don't remember.
I agree. That was really good. But I'm gonna wait for him to say it again. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Can see my sound in the background. Okay, it's this one, Rode wireless mic. I got it while I was in Amsterdam. Yes, Rode.
Is it like so you cannot record on it separately, right?
I haven't looked into it. I don't think you can record separately. So, but I will look into it. That's a good point. I mean, I didn't expect the person holding the camera would have to speak while they're recording. So
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people around it anyway, so
yeah. But I think it's it was definitely an upgrade from the microphone I was using before that, because that was a piece of poop.
we all so Vegan Prada says you did a great job. I think that was fantastic. You did a great job, way more concise than me. And guys, if you can keep it concise, obviously it's always best. I mean, I'm not naturally concise at all, so I'm impressed. That was really good. It was really good. I learned a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I'll
me
have
too.
to rewatch
And
it.
I'll ask you about the persuasion techniques, and I liked also the hostage negotiator analogy that you made, because it's something that makes it really, when you're outreaching somebody and you're having that mindset, like I'm trying to negotiate literally for animal lives here. It's profound a bit. So
and it makes you, it's also compassionate for yourself, because it's like, this is why it's so stressful. And like, like this is a high stress situation. Like it really is. And it's just, and I think that's why, like, there's a difference between like wanting people to like you because you're afraid of conflict and doing it because there's research on it, but while holding them accountable, which is tricky, but it's possible. And I do think that the best conversations are these. And I think you're doing that great. Like, especially like, no, I think you had really good rapport with both, even if the second guy was like, I think he was really receptive though, like in terms of like really he got it. He wasn't pushing that hard, but and I think even if you were blunt with him, it was really good like it wasn't bad rapport. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying. One thing I'm avoiding to do when I'm doing outreach with AV, if I get somebody who gives me answers that are clearly showing me they don't care and stuff, I don't call them animal abusers or try to be blunt with them. I just walk away from the conversation, So that guy, if I wasn't recording it, I might have walked away like in the 2-second, 3rd minute of the conversation when he started saying about indigenous people and stuff. But I don't know. He had to walk away. He made it very clear at the beginning that he didn't have much time. So if a seed was planted in his mind, that's all we can ask for.
I mean, I think that was good. Like, I think that if they bring that up, I don't think it's necessarily that much of a. I wouldn't end it there, because I think that they could still be receptive. It's just that they're bringing up like honest objections. I think, because I can be an honest one for some people, but like, I think when you're not recording it, when it's kind of going in circles, is really when you have to like. But I always film it, so I guess I don't really think about that much.
It depends also on the situation, right? If you're in a huge cube setting with many people waiting to be outreached, and you have to move on to the next person, then you're not going to waste your time on somebody who you think is not open, right? But if you're in a quiet evening and it's a small cube in your local city and stuff, and you have time to spend on one person and try to debunk their arguments, and you can do that. And obviously with a freeze, a different setting with a 3-minute movie challenge. So every situation you have to assess, and it's a good thing that as much activism as you do, you practice your outreach skills and reading situations and people. That's what we do at the end of the day. So yeah, even seeing your outreach and different perspectives helps with fine-tuning your effectiveness as an activist. So yeah, there's
practice makes perfect-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So, okay. So, do you have any more time, or do you have to do something after this?
I'm okay. I just saw Niko
Mhm.
from AV, who was with me in one day a month, pop by. I saw your. I watched that video, Niko. If you're looking for things to react to,
Would you be up to do that?
yeah, well, we could react to Niko's outreach. I'd like that.
Awesome, Niko. Which video is that?
I think maybe the most recent one. He posted it today, I think. You had two girls, right, Niko? I think that's the one with two teenage girls.
Teens are about to face their harsh reality. Is that what it is, Niko?
I think that should be the one. Yeah.
All right. I always really like outreaching teens because there's so much potential, because obviously that's the beginning of their life and they're more open. I mean, they tend to be.
These girls were quite, I think, I watched this earlier. They were open, in my opinion.
No, we're showing the inside of all forms of animal exploitation. Animals used for entertainment, food, clothing, animal testing. So how do you feel about this?
Not good. I don't eat meat though already. So.
Okay, are you a vegetarian
Yes.
already? Okay, so
It's for testing?
this is for all forms of animal exploitation.
Oh, okay.
This is pigs used for their flesh.
Okay.
But is it safe to say that you're against animal exploitation?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I really like when people put footage in their outreach video as well. I kind of forgot to do that last time though, but yeah, that's really good. And vegans never I don't think there's anyone like that in the chat here, but like never complain about that. What the hell? Like, it's not for vegans watching. I mean, it is also because we're kind of like all doing outreach together and whatever and learning from each other, but it's great when there's footage. It's very important in the outreach videos.
Yeah. I think for me, it depends on the situation and the video and what I'm talking about. If I'm going to put footage, I think it makes also the editing a bit more, a bit longer, because you have to find the footage and put it in there. But yeah, I think it's a great addition when you can do it.
And I've been asked that by several people lately, so I'm just gonna say, in case that can be helpful, if you're looking for like where we are taking the free footage, it's literally just, I mean, often it's just, well, that's what I do, Dominion on YouTube. It's free. You can screen record it. There's this thing I use, which is FreeCam 8. It's basically a screen recorder that's completely free to use, and it works really good. And also, yeah, it's just super easy if you want to do that.
Sorry, Kip said he had vegans complain on his videos about the graphic footage.
yeah.
They want a disclaimer before you saw it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't agree with putting disclaimers though, because like people aren't going to necessarily watch it, and they like. I mean, if you're vegan, close your eyes, and if you're like not vegan, you need to watch it. You know, I think it's not fair to put to ask for a disclaimer. I think it's messed up.
We're aiming non-vegans. We're hoping non-vegans will watch these conversations and know what they're about. Another thing that I'm doing with the free videos, the outreach that I post, and I saw that from David Rams, is that he's actually putting the QR code and the 3 movies URL / David Rams on the video when he's talking to people about the 3 movies. You know, that's helpful, I think. But yeah.
I don't like that resource as much, because there's stuff on the website, you know, like with the free website that I think are super well versed, unfortunately.
You mean the 3 movies?
Yeah, and also I feel like it's too many resources and it's kind of overwhelming. I wish they had just like put like Dominion, or I mean, Dominion is not like they don't define veganism, which is insane, but I mean
You can customize the 3 movies with your code.
Yeah.
So I usually have like at least I think I have Dominion being the first one on there, and Gary Yurovsky's speech I think is on there. I'm not sure. But yeah, you can choose what you put on your 3 movies. It's up to each activist.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter, I guess, that Dominion. I mean, we're in the context of what we're doing. It doesn't matter that it doesn't define veganism because we already did it with them. So
Exactly.
Is it possible, you think, to be truly against it and also fund any industries that exploits animals?
I think a lot of people do that. Yeah.
They do. They do. But is it a disconnect there, you think? Or yeah. So have you heard about veganism?
Yeah.
What do you think it means to be vegan?
Like no animal products.
Okay. Yeah, so in action it means boycotting all forms of animal exploitation, right? But it's more of a mindset actually. It means that you stop viewing animals as resources and commodities for humans to use in any type of way.
So, is it a lot about because like animals can give consent
yes,
to use, right?
exactly. Yeah. And yeah, so any use of animals is without their consent, right?
Right.
I
So,
like that.
is that a mindset?
I like that this girl brought up the consent part herself. You know, so
yeah, people are not as dumb as they try to make it themselves seem. Sometimes they just play dumb. Often, I think.
Yeah.
That you align with, you think? Do you
Weaponized incompetence? That's what it is.
do you agree with rejecting the idea that animals are supposed to be our slaves and resources?
I do reject that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, is anything stopping you from living vegan? Okay. So, imagine if you were in their shoes, right?
I think I'm going to use this style of outreach when the person is trying to leave early, because sometimes I just don't have, like, they just leave without me being able to do my form, and my form is a little longer. So I think I'll just be trying to incorporate that when they're trying to leave real fast.
It's literally like 6 questions, like a series of 6 questions that if the person is receptive, you can have the outreach conversation done in 3-4 minutes. And
if you were
sorry.
Yeah, I've had one that month was a very good experience for my activism. I've had people saying that they would go vegan following the protocol using Google Translate and asking the questions on Google Translate in Spanish. You know, and people and if they're open, they're gonna get it. You know, so yeah, I think if as you said, if you're short on time, that the AV protocol is effective, in my opinion, for being just straight to the point and avoiding unnecessary diversions.
Yeah, I think I'm going to actually implement it more in my, because I do deep canvassing, but I'm not sure like in the way I'm doing it. Like I'm still experimenting, but yeah, it seems pretty effective. I just want to implement
The only downside, I would say, criticism feedback with the AV protocol is that if people have seen a cube or have heard these things, it might come across like, oh, these vegans are saying the same things over and over, culty kind of. But at the end of the day, you know, who cares? It's not a cult. So we're just trying to hold them accountable, and that's the most effective way, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, like the thing with, like, I think that's why it could be like a really nice blend of this, which is really good. But I think that if you have like, okay, I know I'm rambling about deep canvassing, but it's really on my mind because it's like it's supposed to be super, super effective for other things. And so really like the keys of it are like sharing your personal experience, like your vulnerable experience when it comes to the subject, asking them about their own like what experiences kind of like are real. For example, I ask like, have you ever had a strong connection with another animal, or have you ever felt taken advantage of or overpowered, so that you're really connecting to that part, that vulnerable part that would connect them to the animals. And I think that's very powerful. So that kind of thing compared to these accountability questions like if you were the animal, the things like that, you know, I think I think it would be the best blend.
Yeah.
But not just the canvassing on its own.
Yeah. No, and obviously,
Yeah.
Cube Cult, race clever. This guy is funny. So obviously it requires a certain level of experience and comfort being able to do this deep canvassing and practice, right? So I think the AV Cube is very good for people who are maybe introverted or uncomfortable in talking with people and stuff. So, you know, you have a series of questions and you go straight to the point. So that's why I think it's also effective, because anybody can literally implement it.
Yeah, I get that. But
Yeah,
also
that's
you
the
could
AV
make
tribe.
like the questions. Yeah. You could make the questions part of like it, like it's because it is straightforward questions as well. It's just that, yeah, I do think that it could be made easier. That's why I'm trying to make it like as concise a document and as efficient a form of it. Like I'm going to to share my method once I feel really good about it, because it could be dangerous to share before.
What Cecile is saying is also interesting. I don't know if you've attended the With the Free behavior change protocol. Which is also, their style is a bit more coaching than holding people accountable and stuff. So that might be an interesting blend to consider.
Well, I feel like you can do both at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that's basically with the freeze approach, is like make it a collaboration, not as much of a confrontation. But like it's not because you're doing AV that it's like not that though, because it can be very collaborative. Like what you did to me is like it's not necessarily, I don't know. Sometimes it can be it's better to make it seem like you're a team and that you are collaborating, so that they are going to be more easily persuaded, because people just they trust their own thing and they don't really care what you have to say, really, even if you're making sense.
It depends on who you're talking to as well, because somebody might react very well to being held accountable. They might be, okay, you're right, I am a hypocrite, I am all of these things, I do demand these
They're already
things.
there.
Yes, but they've never been confronted with the truth, you know. So I think, considering myself, if I was ever outreached and I was outreached the AV way, it would work with me. I don't think I would try to divert and make excuses as to why I'm not vegan.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but
I don't know.
That's the point, though, because I think that you can have, if you're doing it the coaching way, but of course we're not like going easy on them. That's not what it means. It's just the way you're doing it is, the tone is different than if you would just be like holding them accountable, like really, you know, maybe I guess AV style. But that would encompass everybody. The ones that already obviously would work like super fast and easy, but the people that are not getting it would potentially get it more, like I mean, there would be, because often like there's just, it turns into a debate and they kind of storm off, which still happens with what I'm doing right now. But I feel like because you connect it to their experience, I'd, in addition to also like asking them the like how long would you want me to wait to free you, stuff like that, which is a little bit more traditional. I think it just stays with them a little bit more because it's connected to something they already experienced, which is a key element of persuasion, apparently. Oh, it's so complicated.
Yeah. All right. Should we continue with Nikos? Yeah.
For that pig or that cow or something like that, how fast would you want the people who are currently responsible for your exploitation to just stop exploiting you?
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much right away, right? So we're here to provide you with their perspective today, because that's a perspective that is kind of forgotten in society. So what do you think you will do from now on?
I love that he's talking about like it's not it's not about our perspective, it's about their perspective. I really like that, because often it's like vegans versus me, you know,
Yeah.
in their head. But no, it's you versus the animals, actually.
Do you think you can be vegan?
Change our perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It starts in your mind, right? It starts by you rejecting the idea that animals exist for you.
Vegan?
Yes. I've been vegan for 3
Oh,
years,
nice.
and most people here are vegan.
Yeah.
Or I mean all the people with these who are
There's any
outreaching
more
are vegan.
vegan options out places.
Yeah.
Like I have some friends that are vegan, and it's just so hard to like find anywhere to eat or anything because there's no options anywhere.
Right, but
It's definitely growing though.
it's growing,
It's
and if you go to
growing.
the Albert Heijn
Yeah.
stores and stuff, it's very easy to.
Especially people like you guys who are like showing this to other people, you know, you have to like gain knowledge through it, and that's how things spread. And then
Yes.
it's good. It's good work.
Something I like to do, but she did it herself, but like something that's cool is like they're like, oh, it's hard, whatever, and then you, after you've done the accountability thing, you can say as well, like, how would we change that? You know, how would we make it easier to actually be vegan? And often they understand that it's with having more vegans. You know, that's how it changes,
Yeah.
anyways.
And that's like hard to find vegan options in Amsterdam. Literally, come on, it was like heaven when I was there 2 weeks.
They'll find
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
a problem. Yeah.
Hard to find options anyway. Even if you don't
But
have
we are
options.
not here to.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, even if you don't have options in the restaurants, you can make it work with peanut butter and bread and bananas.
Yeah, and also if they're still staying on that, you can be like, is it harder for you or for the animals that are
Yes,
being exploited?
obviously. Like when you're entertaining the hard part and telling them it's actually easy, you're just
Mhm.
trying to build some rapport. Like, okay, yes, I can this, that, you know, it's easy, you can do it, kind of.
Mhm.
To provide you with a way of how to be vegan. We're only here to say this is why you should be vegan, right? And the how will come naturally when you know the why, because it's literally just a Google search away, pretty much, on how to be vegan and how to live a vegan lifestyle, right? So
I love that.
yeah. So what do you think you will do from now on? Will you take a stand against this injustice and be vegan?
Well, I have some perspective.
Yeah, have some perspective. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you were, like I said, if you were in their shoes, like you said, you would want this to end right away. So
Yeah, that's
and nobody, you agree that nobody should have the right to take anything from your body, right? Nobody should have the right to exploit you in any type of way. So what?
It's still a thing we're fighting for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean you have the right to take anything from
it's true.
them, right?
You're right. Yeah.
So
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want to give you a card. You'll see a lot of resources here,
Thank you.
and yeah, there's a documentary called Dominion,
Okay.
very powerful, and
Why are they so fast to leave? Maybe they were touched by something. I don't know. They're like, okay, yeah, bye.
also a speech called "The Best Speech You'll Ever Hear." I really recommend watching that. And I also, it might be an uncomfortable thing to hear, but it's the truth. And as long as you're not vegan, this will continue to happen because of you. Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Awesome.
yeah.
Great work.
Niko said one interesting thing that I usually ask, is it harder for you to be vegan, or is it harder for the animals when you're not? There's a
Yeah.
good response to that.
Awesome. All right. So is there any, okay, now we're kind of moving to if there's any other things we didn't address in the chat that you would like us to respond to. Yeah, great work, Niko, of course.
Go check out Niko's channel, by the way.
Yep. Go subscribe. I have no idea why you don't have that many subscribers right now. Is it a new YouTube channel? Because
I started my the YouTube channel in June when I posted my first video, and it's like the second attempt on YouTube. I started it 4 years ago, wasn't very consistent, and now I'm trying to just post one video per week. So yeah,
That's a good amount.
I think
So Niko, go subscribe, and then
Niko is also just started the YouTube channel as well.
yeah, that's why we need to subscribe to each other, guys.
Mine is
Wow.
underscore activist.
Underscore. Okay, fit vegan. But I have you in there. It's just where are you? Oh, there
it
you go.
is. Yep. Trying to get to 300 right now.
Yeah, I will have you linked. I think I already have you linked in the description below. Please go subscribe to both of these activists. Very important. And of course, when you're watching videos of activism that you do like, please comment and like them because it really helps in the algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually share Niko's channel here. Thanks. Vegan Power Lab, real quick, in the chat.
I try to do that, and obviously not all social media platforms that I engage with people. Yeah, I saw that Vegan Power Lab subscribed to my channel before, and he commented, "Thank you for engaging." Yeah, it's all about consistently posting one video per week right now, and then I think practicing will improve the content, because I'm new, I'm still learning, and I think it's important for people to just stick with the habit of doing something consistently without thinking about the outcome per se, like I want to grow 1,000 or whatever number of subscribers. Just stick to a certain habit, do that consistently over a period of time, and then the product, like the content will improve naturally, I think.
Definitely. And there was and also something that's really cool, and also it's very good for reaching non-vegans, especially, is doing shorts. So I tend to do more shorts than I do videos because I feel like I mean, long videos are great, but they reach to non-vegans not that much compared to shorts. So, and there's of course a lot of views with shorts, and it's less time and energy.
Yes.
So I strongly recommend that.
I agree. Actually, what I try to do with the shorts is just repost the reels I do on Instagram and just repost them as shorts on on YouTube. And an outreach that you will have on YouTube, you can cut it up, make it a bit shorter, 1 minute, and then link the long version of that outreach to the same video. So if somebody's interested, they can go check out the longer video.
Yep. It's better to make shorts after you've already published a video. And also, if you don't know about it, if someone doesn't know, you can use CapCut. It's an editing software and it's free.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good.
I have the paid version of CapCut and I use it. And if you have an iPhone, there's also another very cool editing program especially for shorts and reels. It's called Captions, which is I think that's paid, though it's not free. But yeah, Captions and CapCut, those two programs are easy to use. If you don't need to be like a professional videographer, if you just want to go out there and speak with people and make content, it's very easy.
So I wanted to say a few things before we wrap up. So obviously, I mean, we were not really nitpicking, but this is the point of this video. So of course, like, we're not saying we can never be perfect, but this is just to improve and practice and stuff. And don't ever feel like you failed the animals if you had like a bad conversation or whatever. It's like, I heard something yesterday that was very helpful, which was like basically you are going to fail. It's not an if, it's a when. And every time you fail, you will just improve. Like, you have an opportunity to improve. And just knowing that it's not an if, it's a when, it just helps you, because it's like, this is how you succeed. It's by making a lot of mistakes. So don't feel afraid too much of making mistakes. Just, do your best, and that's all you can do. And that's basically enough,
nice.
because it has to be.
I have you know, I read this book, Atomic Habits, twice, and I follow the author James Clear, and he has a newsletter that he sends every week, and there's a nice quote he has here. The secret of creative work is to make a lot and publish a little. Don't underestimate the power of giving yourself permission to create junk. Most of what you will create will be mediocre or bad, but that's okay. You only have to show people the good stuff. Make 100 things, discard 90, and share the 10 best. Create, 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 edit, edit, edit. And I think that's a very nice line of thinking for people who are into the creative space. You know, not everything you create has to be perfect or a masterpiece. Just be in the creative space as much as you can.
And yeah, it is natural as well that you are going to get better because you care anyways. So yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for obviously all you do, and for everybody who is active. Please get active if you're not already. There's a million ways you could do activism. It doesn't have to be outreach. Even if I think that outreach is one of the best ways to do activism for the animals, you can do, like, I don't know, you can make videos from scratch, content from scratch. You can make art. You can hold vegan community events, which is a very important type of activism. Very, very
Yeah.
important. Online and in person. Just use your strengths and your interests and your skills and education for the animals. That will be very effective. And take care of yourselves, because that's super important for sustainable activism. It's not about, like, you know, just burning just through it and just being as much of a hero for the animals as possible. It's really about being sustainable and, you know, and effective.
Yeah, and that avoiding burnout is really very important and a real problem for the vegan activism community. Melanie Joy has some ideas that I don't 100% agree with everything she says, but when it comes to the taking care of yourself and avoiding burnout, I think she has very good insights as a present. So definitely worth checking out her stuff in terms of avoiding burnout.
I think she has like conferences on that specifically on YouTube. If you
Yes, it does. So if you check out Melanie Joy, you'll definitely find a lot of stuff that are important regarding avoiding burnout. So much.
I want to say real quick, if you want to support my activism, I have a link below to buy me a coffee, or you can support me on Patreon. It's basically the same memberships. There's a few different kinds. There's exclusive content, and it's really my only job. So hopefully I can continue doing that for the rest of my life. But it really does help any kind of support. And obviously go subscribe to you and support your work as well.
I don't have any Patreon or anything just yet, but you know, I have as I said to the troll who was here in the beginning, I do have a full-time job, and that's where my income comes from. But I eventually I'd like to somehow, some way, find a way to make this my full-time occupation. But you know,
well, keep an eye out for that, guys. Then.
Yeah.
And I want to thank Nick, Hannah, Bako, Mike, sorry, Ian, Zen, and Oliver for being that. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know why I still have this banner on, but that's very much appreciated. Thanks so much, Chip. All right. So anything else you'd like to add?
No, thank you very much for doing this. It was very, very, very interesting, and
same here.
I appreciate you for the work that you do for the animals, and your story obviously is very, very interesting. I don't know if you shared it on your social media. I found out about it, as I said, when you were invited at George Martin. So that X vegan, that X to X to X and stuff. That's
yes.
very important.
It's embarrassing, but it's helpful in the sense of like understand some aspects of it.
But it's even important to know that somebody who is like that decided to go back to being vegan, because it's empowering, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, it is for sure. All right, well, thank you so much, guys, for watching, for all you do. Go vegan, get active, and we'll see you in another live and stuff like that. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.